Hello everyone, Pulse here, and welcome to another episode of Delving Deep ESO. Now in today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about the recent announcement of ESO's payment model. Now for those who are kind of in the dark on the matter, Matt Firor just confirmed at Gamescom 2013 that Elder Scrolls Online would indeed fall back to the $15 a month subscription model that we honestly haven't seen in ages, I must say. Now this honestly has caused a massive uproar. And much like in my WildStar Impulse Reactions video, I want to express why this isn't such a bad call on behalf of Zenimax. So let's get into the reaction first, shall we? Well, as I mentioned, it's overwhelmingly negative, pretty much on all the forums I've checked and all the videos that are about the matter of the $15 a month subscription. And the arguments seem to boil down to this right here. 1. Stupid fucking bullshit, $15 a month is way too much. I can't pay that much. I can't possibly pay $15 a month. I am broke as shit. I can't pay that. And it's funny, I have to mention that this argument is 99% of the time accompanied by like a hint or a comment along the lines that it really shows that they've never played an MMO before, or if they have, it's been very casual and they don't really understand the MMO part of this announcement. I just think that's pretty funny that they're going to complain about a $15 a month sub fee when they've never played an MMO and they can't possibly facilitate in their mind why it's a good thing. It's just funny to me that that's one of the big arguments I see. The second argument is that TES fans aren't going to pay this extra money. They've never had to pay for it in the past. Why start now for an Elder Scrolls game? Now, this is kind of similar to the first argument that they think $15 a month is just too much to pay for a game, especially if you have to pay $40 to $60 on the initial box. And to these people, I do understand the concern, mostly because they don't play MMOs, but they're also looking at this as an Elder Scrolls game first. And I can't really blame them for that, because ZeniMax has been really hard on staying to that argument, and I feel like that's wrong, because as I've said in some of my previous videos, this has to be an MMO first. It just absolutely has to, or else the base systems for an online game, which Elder Scrolls Online is, it simply won't work from the base idea. So I feel like that's a little bit wrong that ZeniMax has really stuck to saying this is an Elder Scrolls game first. Instead, I feel like they should have gone and said, no, we're having a nice balance, this has to be an MMO first, and then really done their best to prove to everyone that an MMO is not a bad thing. I feel like that's what they should have done. But to the TES fans, I should say, that haven't played an MMO before and were looking at this game wanting more Elder Scrolls, I want to say don't be deterred by the fact that this is an MMO and that you may have to pay the subscription fee that you're not used to, because as someone who played MMOs a long time back, I remember having this very same argument with myself, going, I really want to play this game. It's getting a lot of good feedback, and lots of people want me to play it with them, but I just can't justify $15. And then you know what? You just jump in and you do it, and you realize for the most part, it's fairly good money spent. Now this isn't always the case. WoW, for me, for example, just really took a nosedive after probably midway Wrath of the Lich King, and it was just one of those things where I decided at that point $15 a month wasn't worthwhile anymore. But this is a new game, this is a new experience, and if you haven't played an MMO, I don't think you should just shun the idea away. I would say give it a chance, because you never know, you could get sucked in and then realize that $15 a month, it's actually not that ton of like money. It's not a lot of payment I have to make extra month. I'll make a slight bit of sacrifice, and I can truly enjoy this game. But yeah, I would say give it a chance, guys. Don't condemn this to being trashware. Don't do that. And the third and my favorite argument is this: buy to play, buy to play. Guild Wars 2 paved the way. Buy to play, buy to play, buy to play. And obviously, I'm condensing it a little bit, but that's my favorite argument, because it doesn't make sense. If they looked at the arguments that ZeniMax is making for the payment model, it's obvious that buy to play isn't going to work for them. And the people that are like, Guild Wars 2 did it, buy to play all the way, nothing else, fuck the world, and they just got their middle finger up to the sky or something. Those are my favorite people, because it just doesn't make any sense. Give it some thought, guys. Come on now. I get it, Guild Wars 2, great game, but there's reasons why some of its content is lacking in the end game, and it's pretty obvious. That buy-to-play that you love so much. Now, I'm sure that I missed one or two arguments that have been floating around, but these are the three that I really noticed were the most prevalent anyway, and are really the mass majority of the negative quote-unquote reasons for why ESO's payment model is wrong and why it's a bad decision. So what do I think on the matter? Well, I think $15 a month is indeed a steep price on a monthly basis. It's not a lot, but I would have much preferred maybe a 10. A 10 a month would have been a much more acceptable amount. It's not a massive difference from the 15, obviously, but it would look more appealing from a price point, as well as it would show Zenimax and their ability to break convention a little bit with their payment model. If they had come out with 10, it would have just been a lot more appealing, and they would have shown everybody that they're willing to take risks here because they know their payment model maybe isn't the most appealing to everybody. So I feel like they should have gone at probably 10, but we'll see. Maybe in the coming months, after they've recouped some money, I think that would be a really cool call on their part if they said, well, you know what, guys, for the people who suffered through the $15 a month for this first 6-month window or whatever, we really appreciate it, and then you know what, for that we're gonna drop it down to a 10-month subscription fee, and you know what, that as long as our sub numbers keep going up, we should be able to utilize that $10 a month just about as well as we could your $15 a month. Thank you very much, and leave it at that. That would be really fucking cool. I don't foresee that happening, but that would be really awesome if they decided to just really show that they're utilizing the money well, and that they can maybe dial it back a little bit, because $15 a month is a lot. It's a lot. So this really brings me around to why Zenimax is going forward with this actual payment model, and why does ESO need a sub fee, really? Well, it boils down to this. In order to provide content that is truly worthwhile at the end game of Elder Scrolls Online, they need this extra cash flow. And let me actually quote something from Matt Firor himself. We feel that outing pay gates between the player and content at any point in-game ruins that feeling of freedom, and just have one small monthly fee for 100% access to the game fits the IP and the game much better than a system where you have to pay for features and access as you play. And I quite like this quote that I have here next from Matt also. He says, and it's important to state that our decision to go with subscriptions is not a referendum on online game revenue models. Free-to-play, buy-to-play, etc. are valid, proven business models, but subscription is the one that fits ESO the best, given our commitment to freedom of gameplay, quality, and long-term content delivery. Plus, players will appreciate not having to worry about being monetized in the middle of playing the game, which is definitely a problem that is cropping up more and more in online gaming these days. The fact that the word monetized exists points to the heart of the issue for us. We don't want the player to worry about which parts of the game to pay for. With our system, they get it all. Now, I really liked these two quotes because they acknowledge the successes of buy-to-play and free-to-play. They make sure to point that out. But then they also make sure to state the negatives, mostly with the free-to-play, and how they have that ludicrous pay gating, which is honestly the worst big business practice in MMOs, fucking period, at this point. I can't think of one worse. And it's funny because I actually see a lot of people who wanted a free-to-play game, and I actually see this a lot. They're wanting like a Lotro-style payment model, and to them, I just like have a big WTF are you smoking, man, because that game and many other free-to-play games that are similar to that have the worst content gating I've ever fucking seen, and why the hell would you want to diminish the open world and overall experience that is synonymous with Elder Scrolls and put it into the system of the Elder Scrolls Online MMO? Why would you want to do that? I don't get it. And I just think if people give it some thought, they'd realize they don't want that. It just doesn't make sense. And it's what Matt is saying here as well. It doesn't make sense for them. I mean, even though it might be profitable to go free to play straight from the gate these days, they don't feel it meshes with the game that they're making and the IP that is Elder Scrolls. And I have to say also, it looks like the Q&A guys were working with Matt quite a bit, because this is one of the only times I can think of where he has spoken, where he actually seems legitimate and knowledgeable about his own game. But I won't go into that again, because I kind of have a beef with Matt. I feel like he's probably a really nice guy that's trying his best, and he's like crumbling under the pressure of interviews and stuff. But I really liked these quotes here. It feels like he's actually just being true. He's being himself. He's letting everybody know about the product he's making. So a thumbs up to Matt in this case. But so this comes down to why they've opted for the subscription model. And there's not only just this reason that they've come up with where they say it doesn't really fit their game. There's another reason, and this reasoning that they need to stay away from free-to-play because of its pay gating isn't even the main reason in my mind. So what is the main reason? Well, in order to provide the player base with engaging and worthwhile content post-release, the extra cash flow is required, and I kind of mentioned this earlier. And I feel like NCSoft's decision not to copy the Guild Wars 2 buy-to-play essentially proves this theory when they announced WildStar's payment model just a couple days ago. And this just really goes to show the publisher to developer relationship, and it really seems to give proof to the theory here as well. Just for example, Guild Wars 2 lacks sufficient endgame, which is really engaging for hardcore MMO players, and for the people that like to tackle raid-like content, it's just not there in Guild Wars 2. And then you have games like WildStar and Elder Scrolls Online are both going after this group, this niche player base that are wanting to play this style of content, and they're on track to implement it. And I can't commend both of them for this, because it's something that's been missing. High-end and engaging raid-style content has been missing from AAA MMOs pretty much since WoW, in all honesty. And there's been some copycats, obviously. We've had some major flops from people who have tried to emulate WoW a little bit too hardcore. But this really seems to, in my mind anyway, prove to me that this is the reason why they need that extra cash flow to give us the content that's been missing from an MMO. And let's go into the copycats, for example. We have the biggest flop probably in all time with Star Wars The Old Republic. Now this is really where people get worried about the sub fee thing, because Star Wars The Old Republic had a sub fee, and even though the game was okay, once you get to the end game, the rating style content was absolutely horrid. And it's what killed the game for a lot of people. And it's like, well, what makes you think that paying a sub fee for Elder Scrolls Online will give a different result? What will make it better here? Well, first, the thing with Star Wars that's not quite the same as Elder Scrolls Online is that BioWare and EA had to recoup just tons of cash very hard, very quickly to pay off their development costs from the get-go, because they just put so much money into voice acting. It kind of along the same lines, though, their second reasoning that they flopped hard, and it's different, is that they simply designed too many systems nobody really cared about beyond the initial novelty of it all. The different choice tree thing, I think that's a fine idea, but it didn't really fit into the game itself for MMO players. The just overwhelming high amount of voice acting, which I think was good, but the amount of text and the amount of time you sat there and waited, people didn't even like it. They just skipped it because the novelty of it wore off. Another good example is the spaceflight minigame. It was very cool, but it was not important to the game overall, and it was just extra development time and money. And Elder Scrolls Online isn't really following this. And finally, we have the thing that does kind of correlate with Elder Scrolls Online, but it's something that's going to correlate with all MMOs, and it's simply BioWare, for example. They put out content that didn't really produce a worthwhile experience, let's say. They decided to put out the game incomplete, and it was unpolished and unfinished, and part of the problem is EA pushed it out. Now, we kind of don't have this problem with Elder Scrolls Online, but the question still remains is, will Elder Scrolls Online have good content or not? Because there have been games with sub fees that have flopped in this area. But let's get back on topic, shall we? ESO and the sub fee. Why are we getting it? Well, it's so that we, the player base, are not gated from content, as I said, and it's so that we can look forward to worthwhile in-game content and frequent patches, so that we are drawn into the overall experience of ESO over and over again over a long period of time. Now, the question remains, as I said, and it will always be there, is will Zenimax Online actually deliver on their promises and give us the product we desire, and one that we can justify paying for, mainly in the department of endgame. How do you make the game worthwhile to play after you've reached level cap and completed the questing experience? How do they do that? Well, they make it sound like they're going to put that money to good use and provide content in that area for release and post-release. So that's really that thing. We just, it's a big question mark. We don't know how they're going to do it. I'd like to think that they can pull it off. For one thing, they've already decided to push the game back, for example, unlike Star Wars: The Old Republic did, and that at least hints to me that they're taking their time to produce a worthwhile product, because they could have just cut the extra bits off that they intend to implement now that they have many more months to develop this game, and they could have put it out in December or what have you, and we would have had a flop on our hands. We definitely would. So I'm glad that they've decided to push it back, and that's one sign that's different from Star Wars and other games, is they're actually trying to give us a completed product. So one last thing, actually, but before I make my exit, my final opinions on the matter, I've seen some worry from console gamers on this. And to you guys who intend to play Elder Scrolls Online on the console, the sub fee will definitely not be an extra cost alongside Xbox Live or PS Plus. This rationale that we will need to pay extra, I'm not sure where that came from, because all previous MMO titles on the consoles have allowed players to bypass their first-party online services like Xbox Live and that stuff to play the MMOs online. They allow you access to the online game servers just by paying the sub fee or owning the game or what have you. So I wouldn't worry about Elder Scrolls Online having an extra cost if you decide to play on the consoles. It should be totally fine. There's no hints that this rule would change in any form or fashion. So to the console guys, I wouldn't worry too much if you're kind of thinking that you'll have to pay an extra $5 or extra $10 just to play this game. That shouldn't happen at all. So my final thoughts then. Well, I must say that I'm actually okay with this. When I first read it, I was like, what the hell? But then I'm thinking, well, maybe it's good. I was honestly 99% positive we were going to get a hybrid model of buy-to-play or just straight buy-to-play. Maybe something along the lines of buy-to-play with a premium membership VIP free-to-play style, like get some extra in-game cash shit like that. But with some thought, I must say I'm fully on board for the sub fee. I'm fully on board for this. And it's not because I'm let me see, blindly overconfident in Zenimax Online as a first-time developer, but it's actually because otherwise, without the sub fee and this idea that it's needed to provide the content, we probably wouldn't get a game which I would feel is worth playing in the long run. I mean, I mentioned Guild Wars 2 a lot on here, and it's because in my mind it's one of the greatest MMOs to come out in a long time. But it's let me down in the post-release content, and it's really let me down in the in-game department. And it fits its niche perfectly fine. It's an anomaly, really. It sits its own little bubble. It does its thing. It's successful. But as an MMO vet, I really want that hardcore group experience. I want the camaraderie of getting in a guild and going and tackling something just really hard and really difficult. I don't even care about the loot at the end. I'm not that guy. I just like the experience of it all. It's just been missing for such a long time. I really miss it, and I really want it, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I feel like the sub fee is okay, because that money, it looks like, will be put back into developing that content I truly desire. Now, I realize I'm in the minority, but for the announcement itself, let me say, I am in the minority with thinking that the sub fee is is a good thing. But for the announcement itself, I feel like there's a lot more people who are just missing this next part, and I feel like it's a fairly major misstep on the part of Zenimax. It's hopefully one that can be corrected, since Gamescom isn't quite over yet as of recording this thing. And that's the lack of actual like new footage or any content announcements. In my mind, as I kind of just really pick this apart about why we're going to get the sub fee and stuff, I really got this idea that they should have thrown out this announcement, realizing that it was going to get such negative backlash, and then as quickly as possible, whenever they're able to get stage time or chance to announce or what have you, they should have come out and shown off their plans for their adventure zones or their large group content or whatever the hell they're going to call it. And if they had come out and said, for example, you know what, guys, that $15 a month we just told you about that would be required to play our game every month, well, this is going towards creating this thing, and then boom, they have their announcement and their footage or what have you of their large group content. They show off something badass, or they tell us all something really good, and then they just go, suck it, haters. Okay, maybe not that last part, but the point still stands. They should have paired this announcement of a sub fee, knowing that it was negative, and they should have gone in and put it with some footage or content announcement about the end game that they seem to be going for, that they're trying to use this money for. So I feel like they should have done that. They should have put that correlation together in their head. Well, we're going to use this money for post-release content and to create engaging, worthwhile stuff, especially post-release and for the end game. And you know what, we're gonna use that money for that stuff. So let's put it together, kind of do two separate announcements so we can get two different reactions. But together it makes a one whole announcement kind of thing. I feel like that's what they should have gone for. They should have known that it was going to get negative and used another really worthwhile announcement to counteract it, so they could get some positive feedback to kind of counter the negative. And then we as a whole sort of gamer player base that are looking forward to Elder Scrolls Online could really see. That way just people like me who are really diving into this with logic would see, because I truly see this as a good thing. But for all the other people who are just instantly turning their backs on the game, I feel like if they had used this style of announcing the payment model coupled with like a short break and then bam, showed off some worthwhile content that they're using this money for, I feel like that would really have slowed this ridiculous wave of negativity. It would have really shown the people that they mean business, that they're trying to deliver on their promises here. But yeah, that's going to do it for me on this topic of Elder Scrolls Online and their payment model. What do you guys all think of the sub fee announcement, and do you think Zenimax can perform on their promises for worthwhile content while using this extra cash flow to develop the end game and their post-release stuff? And also, what do you guys think if they had paired it with a more positive announcement of sorts? Would it have been taken a little bit better? I think it would have, but maybe you guys think something else would have happened with that, so let me know in the comments below. And on that note, I'd like to ask you guys for a thumbs up, a subscribe, a comment down below, as I already mentioned, and stick to Noble Pulse Gaming for Elder Scrolls Online and everything gaming related, really. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.